In this video, I want to talk about forcing people, using coercion. Now, we know society taught us not to force people, to leave people alone, to respect people's wishes and people's desires. I now want to look at reality with you. You are waking up every morning, or well, almost every morning, to go to your job. Why is that? You don't have any income. Without an income, you don't have any food, you don't have any roof above your head. And you can't make people give you money to pay a roof above your head or to purchase food and all of that. So there's a distribution of wealth in which a group of people have resources, others don't, and others need to comply with those that have resources in order for them to have what they need. That's really what's going on. Did you choose this situation? No. Did anyone tell you how to circumvent the situation? No. You were taught by society to comply and to manipulate others to get the best deal for yourself. That's what society told you. So actually, you're being forced. There's coercion being used on you. I'm telling it as it is. If you grew up amongst Chinese people, you speak Chinese as a native language. You were trained to relate to others in Chinese. That's natural. It's the only thing you could do. But because of that, you've been conditioned. So that was also from coercion, but it was not a violent coercion, but you've been coerced. Coercion is a part of daily life. While coercion turns into violence when coercion goes at your expense. But often, coercion turns into violence, we're not even aware of it, until it manifests too openly. If someone comes with a gun to you and tells you to put all your money in his pocket, you know that if you don't comply, something very bad will happen that you can't manage. So you comply to avoid a bad outcome. You're being coerced. In this case, there is violence on you. Because the coercion goes at your expense. If you're about to get into a car and drive home, but just have some few drinks and people coerce you and take the tram, it's not violence, it's not at your expense, nor at the expense of the community. It's to preserve your life and the life of others. So in this case, it's just coercion, not violence. So the whole idea of you just having to put up with the wills of others is BS. Coercion is part of daily life. While you were growing up and your parents demanded respect, what were your parents demanding? Validation. And actually, adults should not seek validation from children. But you grew up in this dysfunctional culture that taught you to validate people that are older than you, just like that, just because they're older. And you were coerced. I'm saying you were coerced with violence. Because if you didn't give respect, you either were sent to your room, or you were beaten physically, that also happens, or affection was withheld from you, or if your parents didn't do it, others did it because others didn't agree with it. So there was violence and coercion upon you to give validation to other people, whether to your parents or to teachers or whoever. That was coercion. There was no such thing as you having a will and others acknowledged it. Your will wasn't even considered. So coercion is part of daily life. The only thing is, why are people using coercion? If you use coercion to advance the common good or advance the well-being and welfare of the community, that's different. If you use coercion, however, to exploit others to get what you want, no matter what, that's violence. For example, there can be a child running on the street and you run and use your physical force to grab the child to prevent armed starvation. That's using force, okay, which is physical coercion. So physical coercion, in this case, physical force, you use it to rescue the child and preserve its life. But then you may have a parent in a supermarket smacking a kid because the kid doesn't validate him or doesn't validate her. Embarrassing the kid and themselves just to feel validated that they're someone. That's violence. Okay? People say discipline is violence. Okay? So understand the difference between coercion and violence. Violence is wrong all the time. Violence is never okay. Violence never serves any higher good. Never. Coercion, for the right reasons, and done in the right way, serves the better good. But you've been taught never to coerce people unless you are frustrated. Then you must enforce boundaries. Isn't it weird that people are taught not to put up with the coercion of others, but that they have the right to coerce others when their so-called boundaries are violated? What are boundaries? Imaginary limitations. So you have your imaginary limitations in which you hold on, and now you want to bind others through coercion to validate those imagined limitations. So what you're being taught by society contradicts itself. They tell you not to coerce others, to respect the wills of others, unless it comes to your own will. When you feel violated, then you need to enforce boundaries. Do you see this contradicts itself? Look, coercion is part of daily life. Coercion is how things are done. However, why is coercion used? For example, I'm going to give a parable now. You have this John, who's a pagan. He has his altar in his home, lighting his candles, doing his paranormal stuff. He invites himself to parties. So he just tells people if there's a party, and he comes, and people allow him to come. He has a job somewhere. He's not really that qualified for the job, but he has the job. His children are on soccer, on football, and they're doing well. So things are working in his life. But here's the thing. He does not give others an option to choose whether or not they want to deal with him. He makes plain, I'm in his community, I'm a human being, I value also, my life matters also, and you'll deal with me. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, I have to comply. But you're not going to have the chance to choose whether or not you're going to acknowledge my existence. This John has this attitude, and he uses the paranormal to coerce people to acknowledge his needs and his interests and his safety and that of his children. That's why nobody bullies his children. That's why nobody projects bad stuff on his kids, because he paranormally enforces consequences to secure that he and his children are considered. Now we have Fred. Fred has this mentality, you need to respect others, validate others, and he has all kinds of stuff going wrong in his life. Even his wife cheating on him and all of that. What's going on? Fred gives others the right to reject him. He gives others the right to have a will against him. Because he's so called to respect and validate the wills of others. From time to time, he does use coercion to prevent people from harming him, as the world taught him, but he still has this idea, you need to respect others, you need to leave people alone. He still has this BS that the society taught him. This John doesn't put up with anything, and he realizes as a pagan when he's wrong there's going to be consequences on him, so he knows that he shouldn't go too far. But still he realizes he needs to go far, and he needs to trample upon some of the expectations of people around him, or else he will be devoured. This Fred is still negotiating for people to acknowledge him, while John makes like, I'm here, you'll deal with me. Who do you think is going to last? John is. Fred can be taken out anytime, because Fred has no safety whatsoever. Now, John has relief, so he's safe to a certain extent. He doesn't have the real safety, but he has relief, extended relief. Fred doesn't have neither relief nor safety. But Fred is liked by others. Why? Because people can get away with him with anything. With this John, there were quite some women that refused to deal with him, because those women knew if you decide to lose interest in a guy or treat him however you wanted, you're in trouble. Those women knew if you do wrong to John, there is a price. There is a price tag attached to it. So they, knowing that they don't want to be held accountable, decided to avoid John. And because of that, no woman ever in his life took advantage of him. His father told him to be paranormally active, so no woman ever could come and exploit him. And eventually, John met his wife. He got his children by doing it with her. So it worked out for him. Fred, at the other hand, was the guy. He joined the fraternity, so he had access to the chicks over there. Eventually got a girlfriend whom he later married. So things went more smooth for him. But at the same time, he has no real safety nor relief. So who is better off if you compare the two? John is. Because John is realistic, while Fred is in delusion. But because things worked out briefly for Fred, Fred thinks he's alright. John, on the other hand, faced difficulty and frustrations, yet he is still standing. But here's the thing, he's a pagan, he's not even a believer. Why am I telling you this? It's because there are believers who should be far better off than John is, but they're like Fred. There are many believers like Fred, even though they have the Holy Spirit. If it's just a pagan Christian, just a religious individual, I wouldn't mind, because they're just religious. But people with the Holy Spirit shouldn't be like this Fred. This should exceed that John in his parable. So John, one day, encounters this believer who started going to church. And John tells him, Frank, you've been going to this building every weekend for over 4 years. What's changed for the better in your life? Name a few things that changed for the better. It's then that Frank realized, hold on a minute, I've only gone to church, sing hallelujah, I'm being in routine. John didn't say much. John just asked that question, because John knew it would trigger him to think. And after a while, this Fred realized indeed that he was deceived. He was trapped. Things didn't change for the better. Things were at ease for him. He had relief, but things did not work out for the better. John had relief, but things worked out for him. So Frank then realized, I need to get out of here. When he got out of pagan Christianity, man, he lost all his friends. He even lost his job, because for many pagan Christians had a job and they turned on him. He went through some hardships, but eventually he stabilized. That John, just a pagan, knew far better what's going on than Frank did. But here's the thing, if you have a lot of people like Fred, if you have a lot of Freds around you, don't expect to get ahead. Don't expect things to work out for the better for you. You can rather have some Johns around you who alert you in the right direction. You have commoners that alert you and put your focus on the bad, so they're toxic, they remind you of mistakes in the past, or they keep mentioning things that upset you. Those people are toxic, you should lose them. But then you have people like this John who alert you in the right direction. Okay? You rather have a few people like that for a while around you than that you have loving company of a lot of Freds. Because those Freds will fret you out. Okay, maybe that's not a good English expression. Those Freds will exhaust you mentally, emotionally. They will drain you physically. They are bad for your health. Look, if you make some music, okay, the music needs to be listened to by others. So you need to share the music. Now, but people can choose whether they want the music or not. They have the ability to refuse. So what are you going to do? Are you going to beg people to listen to your songs? What do pagans do? They go to the paranormal, they consult Nephilim spirits, and they bring their animal sacrifice or they do their stuff, and as a consequence, the pagan radio owners, because the radio stations are owned often by pagans, those pagans then find out that this pagan has made some music. It doesn't matter whether the music sounds good or not. The pagan, because it's a pagan, will play the music on the radio station over and over again. So after a while, people that enter the supermarket or people that are on the workplace keep hearing that song. And after a while, their brain attaches itself to that song. Either it attaches itself in an aversive manner, that they can't stand the song, or it attaches them in an attractive manner, they enjoy the song. In any way, the people are attached, and people have to put up with that song. So that singer now has an audience. Whether that audience is for him or against, but still has an audience. He still has a reach. He's a pagan, he's practical. He uses coercion to get his product out. And it works. And then you have folks that want to go to competitions to win the approval of society. So they are dependent on the approval of others, while the pagan enforces his talent. And let me tell you folks, that pagan singer, he will make a lot of money. He may not become a millionaire, but he will make a lot of money, and this will go far better for him in the long run than for the one that seeks approval and permission of others. Don't you know that when you use coercion, people tend to resist you? But eventually, they'll back off because they realize nobody can stop you. I mean, seriously, people keep granting others the keys to their well-being. When you're a little kid, you can't help yourself, okay? So don't blame yourself for what happened to you while you were growing up as a kid. You can't. Even in your teenage years, you can't arrange everything. As a human being, you can't arrange everything. So you don't carry the full weight of your existence. Nobody does. But when you're not a kid anymore, you at least have options. You can take action. You get what I'm saying? But don't you know, or probably you know already, that a lot of folks, they keep putting the keys to their long-term well-being in the hands of common people by seeking validation from others. Look, you are concerned with others because you ought to be benevolent towards others. You ought to walk in love towards others as Christ commands you to. But you should not seek validation from others. But don't you know that people just keep doing that? They keep seeking validation from girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, or kids, or parents, or of the community. And some seek validation by resistance. They are so-called blunt, they hurt people's feelings, and they don't care. That's also a form of validation seeking. You just throw out what you want, you just have to deal with it, just to show that you're someone. It's also validation seeking. So validation seeking isn't just chronic people pleasers. You always give people what they want. Also, resisting people just to show that you have a will is also seeking validation. That's also putting the keys of your long-term well-being in the hands of common people. A lot of folks keep doing it. Self-defense in general is also a way of laying the keys of your long-term well-being in the hands of common people. Demanding respect, demanding validation, enforcing boundaries, imagined limitations, all of those are putting the keys of your long-term well-being in the hands of others. First of all, you don't have any power from yourself as a human being. You have energy. As a male, you have masculine energy, as a woman, you have feminine energy. And your energy is powerful, but not that you have power out of yourself. A lot of people think they have power while they don't. That's also putting the keys of your long-term well-being in the hands of common people. And indirectly, you're putting the keys of your long-term well-being in the hands of demons. That's what you're doing. So you're granting demons the way that you're granting Satan easy access to you. People keep doing this. About me, I don't want to make videos about me because it shouldn't be about me, it should be about Christ. But about me, let me tell you, even before I became born again, around age 13, I used coercion. When I was on a playground and children didn't want me around, I stayed there. I made clear onto them, I'm here, you're dealing with me. When a teacher in primary school went too far in his remarks or said things that didn't add up, I reacted. I wasn't that polite all the time. I was polite and easygoing, but when someone went too far, I don't care if someone was an adult, I was saying, hold on a minute, when I felt danger, I shoo on others I felt danger. I used coercion. That's what I did. I didn't fall for this BS of always giving validation, especially not unconditional validation. I didn't fall for it. Most of my peers fell for it. I didn't. And let me tell you, it's because I didn't fall for that, but I acted out. When I sensed danger, my intuition worked. It's because of that more harm did not befall me. I thought about removing marks of victimization. Watch a series of mine. I had the paranormal mark of victimization on me. It was forced upon me, due to where I'm from, due to where my parents are from. And I didn't knew everything back then. I was just growing up, but I realized, hold on a minute, why do people keep treating me badly? Why do people sense this urge to treat me bad? I realized something abnormal was going on, but I resisted it. I didn't get along with it. I gave people the right to will whatever they will. I didn't do it. Because I knew once I acknowledged that, I'm empowering the negative wills of theirs. When I became born again, I remained practical. I was a bit confused, very briefly by pagan Christianity, but soon the Holy Spirit brought me out of that. And I've been using coercion ever since. I don't put a gun at people's head and tell them to hand me their wallet. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to use blackmail on people, which is negative coercion, in which you force people to do things at their expense to harm them. I'm not doing that. But I do use coercion. I do not allow people to just will whatever they will. That's why I'm alive and well. That's why nobody dares to commit violence against me. Because in agreement with Christ, I operate in what I consider righteous coercion. Christ operates in coercion. When he cast out a demon for someone, he didn't ask where the demon wanted to leave. He didn't consider the interest of the demon. He just cast the devil out. He used coercion. In pagan Christianity today, they teach you that demons have rights. The demons have legal rights. Demons have the right to be there. Something Christ never taught. So pagan Christianity is giving rights to demons. Okay, let's say you have illegals that entered the United States and they're living there, they're working there, they're not paying taxes. And what if the local governor, who should execute the president's order to kick those illegals out, what if he tells the president, sir, they have rights? What would happen? That governor would be fired. He can even go to jail for violating the course of justice of the legal system. Why? Because you have illegals into the country, taking advantage of the country, and you as a governor ought to execute the law by pulling those people out. Either they become legal or they leave. You get what I'm saying here? So in politics, we will never put up with what pagan Christians are putting up at the hands of pagan pastors. Say that demons have rights. Where the heck did they get this BS? When did Christ ever acknowledge the rights of Satan, which Satan doesn't have? Now Satan is enabled by common people. And for practical reasons, Christ tolerates him ruling over them. And Christ told you to shake the dust off your feet for practical reasons to preserve your safety. Not because those others have the right to will what they willed against you. Look, Christ wants us out of violence. Okay? But he never told us to forfeit coercion. Coercion in line with Christ, that's righteous. Coercion for self-centered purposes at all costs is violence. Christ wants you free from violence, but he wants you to enforce his kingdom on the earth. His will be done on earth as is in heaven. Be at peace.